At this moment, I thought it was a bit overkill. I meant to say something similar, but I didn't mean to provoke him so much. Maybe I was too accustomed to giving cider to individual constellations. It was laughable. I wasn't Yu Jung-hyuk and I didn't have anyone giving me coins right now.
Didn't you hear it? The Demon King of Salvation! Jang Hayoung ran to my side and exclaimed, "Look at the constellation who joined our channel! A person from Earth!" I was about to tell him that I was the Demon King of Salvation when I remembered something that he said previously. He already has a girlfriend. I shouldn't. Instead, I looked up at the night sky where the light was shining. The constellation, Nouveau Richer Snake Boss, has jumped exceedingly high. This jerk must be pissed off, but he couldn't go on a rampage. A low-ranking constellation like the Nouveau Richer Snake Boss didn't have the guts or enough probability to make trouble in the demon world. The constellation Nouveau Richer Snake Boss is furious that a mere incarnation has destroyed him. What incarnation? Who killed this guy in the original novel? It couldn't be Yu Jung-hyuk. The constellation Nouveau Richer Snake Boss is indignant that a constellation he has never heard of is opposing his will. The constellation Nouveau Richer Snake Boss is looking around for the Demon King of Salvation. This guy didn't know that I was the Demon King of Salvation. Well, it didn't matter. As long as he cared about the Demon King of Salvation, half of my purpose was achieved. Kim Dokja thought, I must gather constellations to this channel. This way, I can gain the upper hand in the Demon King selection, which would follow after the revolutionary scenario. For this to happen, I needed word to spread about this channel. Even so, it was dangerous to blindly recruit constellations. If too many powerful people entered from the beginning, B would find it hard to handle and could be troublesome for me. At this moment, Nouveau Richer Snake Boss was becoming upset in the channel. The constellation Nouveau Richer Snake Boss starts to question nearby constellations about the Demon King of Salvation. The constellation Nouveau Richer Snake Boss is surprised to hear the rumors about the Demon King of Salvation. He was a low-grade guy among the top people of this world. The constellation Nouveau Richer Snake Boss seems to have seen the Demon King of Salvation. The constellation Nouveau Richer Snake Boss is appealing against the accusations of constellations pouring towards him. The constellation Nouveau Richer Snake Boss claims to have seen the Demon King of Salvation. Therefore, the narrative-grade constellations didn't believe his words. In other words, the story only reached the arrogant lower-grade constellations. It meant that the Nouveau Richer Snake Boss was a perfect fit for collecting such constellations. The constellation Nouveau Richer Snake Boss is gathering his gang. It was as I expected. New constellations have entered the hashtag BI-90594 channel. If Secretive Plotter was in the same channel, he would have clearly sent me a message of admiration at my ploy. It felt a bit nostalgic. The newly entered constellations are revealing their modifiers. The constellation Nail-Eating Rat is looking for the fingernails of fallen incarnations. The constellation Dog Who Threw Himself into the Flames is curious about the channel's incarnations. Since there was a series of animal modifiers, he really had called his friends. Nail-Eating Rat and Dog Who Threw Himself into the Flames? They were modifiers that I knew were unknown even without looking at ways of survival. These bad guys were also constellations. The constellation Nouveau Richer Snake Boss is warning the Demon King of Salvation. The constellation Nouveau Richer Snake Boss declares that this channel has been taken over by the 12 Zodiacs Nebula. What was this? I had seen the 12 Zodiacs in passing in Ways of Survival. They were a nebula, but they weren't very cohesive. In addition, the majority of members were low-grade constellations. There wouldn't be a problem even if they became hostile to me. Kim Dokja thought, first, the number of subscribers has increased. Next would be to sort them. The larger the channel, the more leeches that obscured the water. Now that I wasn't free to use my status, I needed a constellation to take charge of quality control. It needed to be a constellation with a strong power, but moderately decent. They should be capable of crushing other constellations. Where could I find such a person? In fact, I already had the answer. Jang Hayoung, what are you doing? Jang Hayoung, who was typing something into the air, glanced at me with surprise. The unidentified wall is surprised. It seemed he was doing something similar. My eyes narrowed as I said, "You will die if you tell the other constellations about the Demon King of Salvation." "I just wanted to boast that I heard the message. Then you will be punished. The Demon King of Salvation is a very, very scary man." Jang Hayoung jumped and glanced up at the sky. He thought that the Demon King of Salvation might be looking at him from somewhere. Fortunately, there were no indications of unusual movements in the channel. Jang Hayoung hadn't spread his nonsense yet. Jang Hayoung noticed my glance and said, "You know the Demon King of Salvation?" "A little bit." "Are you friends?" I didn't know if we were friends or not. "It is enough that he gave me a message to tell you." "What is it?" "He's looking at you." I thought saying this would be better. In any case, I had to take advantage of his power from now on. The constellation Nouveau Richer Snakeboss is looking for a place to relieve his anger. The constellation Nail-Eating Rat is curious about you. The indirect messages appeared in the air one after another. Duke Sistwitz listened to the messages for a while before opening his mouth with a frown. "Gather all the nobles at night." "Huh? But understood." The subordinate quickly escaped from the office, and Duke Sistwitz placed a new cigar and placed it in his mouth. He looked slightly nervous due to the indirect messages of the constellations. "I don't know who opened the channel. However, I can't let that opportunity go." It wasn't a formal channel. However, he could still take advantage of the channel to start the competition in the most advantageous way in the demon world. The other dukes haven't yet obtained a channel for broadcast. The modifiers of snake and rat seemed wrong, but they were still constellations. He didn't know the details, but the situation was a great opportunity for him to become a demon king. Marquise Ambrose watched the situation and asked, "Are you planning to face the revolutionary in a situation where the factory isn't operating?" "Once all the remaining executioners are dead, the revolutionary will gain the power to kill you." A ruler who lost all his subjects would be vulnerable to a revolution. That was the planned evolution of this scenario. However, Duke Sistwitz didn't blink at all. "Of course not. If the person who showed up now is the real revolutionary." "What?" "By the way, have you decided which side you'll be on?" "Huh?" Ambrose looked surprised. "I'm a Marquise of Gilibet." Duke Sistwitz smiled, and Ambrose realized the meaning of side. "Are you?" Ambrose's back was soaked with sweat while there was a very short conflict in his head. The Duke who obtained the first channel would be overwhelmingly advantageous in the selection competition. Many constellations would soon flock to this channel. In addition, Duke Sistwitz had the most powerful story in the 73rd Demon Realm. Ambrose's worries didn't last long. "I greet the new king of the demon world." The demon made a decision. Duke Sistwitz nodded as Ambrose slowly knelt down. "I entrusted the removal slaves to Eileen and Mark before asking BU to disrupt the broadcast channel for a while. It wasn't to prepare for any problem. It was to prepare for any possible problems. I didn't want the animal friends to hear what happened from now on." "Jang Hayoung, how many people are you talking to now?" Jang Hayoung looked at me in the eye and replied, 3 people? "One is the Black Flame Dragon. Who are the other 2? Actually, it might be 5. 5 people. To be precise, it's 9, but 9 people. If I had those who took longer to reply, there's 15 altogether." There were several distinctive features of the unidentified wall. One of them was the chat function that Jang Hayoung opened not long ago. It was the ability to send messages to anyone within the Starstream. However, having this ability didn't mean everyone could use it like Jang Hayoung. "You talked to 15 people in this short amount of time?" "Well, it wasn't that hard." "It was hard for me to talk to even one person." He really was a great multitasker. In short, 15 constellations and transcendents were talking to this guy. Those people with strong pride. I wondered how it was possible, but this was Jang Hayoung's true power. It was because of this power that Jang Hayoung was able to build a force of transcendence. Jang Hayoung watched my face and asked, "By the way, why are you asking?"
I hesitated for a moment. This choice was very important. If I made a bad choice, my hard-earned channel could become ruined in an instant. I thought for a moment before slowly opening my mouth. I'd like to call somebody. Huh? Who? I hesitated to reply. I wasn't sure if my choice was correct or not. Kim Dokja thought, the one I will call now is beyond my control. It was really hard to get here. A damn scenario was a scenario, but the ones who really bothered me were the constellations. Those who wanted the bounty scenario were easy. When I thought about it, I came to the demon world because of my fate. Even now, I couldn't sleep when thinking of that time. After all these efforts, I came to the distant stage and opened a new channel. Now, should I call one of them to this place?